So tonight's session, there's not a whole lot to it. The good and the bad about this series has been I really like taking, in the past, I did these Schoology trainings because I had to just kind of throw everything at you. And now that we've kind of been at this for a few years and digitally in elementary for a year now, been able to go back and make some specific topics. So that was the whole concept of this spring training was I don't have to do a Schoology training. Let's talk about making over just that one little aspect of Schoology, just putting pictures in our course. Let's talk about end of the year, beginning of the year stuff. Let's talk about future sessions. We're going to use Cami and Google Drive assignment and some of the things that have been a part of the trainings before, but there's a whole training and a whole hour just on those things. That's great with a lot of these to take something that might have been 5 or 10 minutes in a normal session and turn it into a 1 hour session. But parents in Schoology, I don't know if I need an hour for that, but it's something that often got overlooked, something that we discussed and kind of moved on. So we'll talk about some philosophical sort of things today too, and those sorts of things. There'll be some teacher talk sort of things. And I think that's always good when you go to a conference, a lot of information, and then there's that idea, ooh, that's a good one. I like that. That sticks. So hopefully I gave you some of those today. And then again, always apply it to your classroom as you see fit. All right, so we're going to talk about getting parents in Schoology. Some of this will be a review because we've discussed that in end of the year, beginning of the year, but we'll take our time with it a little bit tonight because there's not a whole lot else to talk about. So first thing we need to discuss getting your parents into Schoology is finding that parent access account. We're going to go to your course, we're going to go look at members, and we're going to go look for that access code. Now, the other thing, I hope I remember to say some of the stuff I said this morning, because I also kind of went into some of the back end sort of stuff to kind of explain some of the IT and PowerSchool and this and that. I like doing that because we're in our classes, we've got kids in front of us, and we're like, why isn't this working, or when's this going to work, or what's this? So I like to be informed. I like to know why or when this stuff happens. So I like to inform you of that too. So parent access codes, I'm going to go into Schoology. I'm going to go choose my sample training course. And once it loads, I'm going to click members. And we've got our students in here. And then right here is where we're going to find parent access codes. I do want to point out, we don't want to use this access code. We're looking for parent access code here. So when I click that, it's going to ask to download a CSV, which is a fancy spreadsheet. And that popped up my other screen. So I'm going to bring it over to you. Is that the right one? Yep. And then I'm going to come in here and make this parent access code spot bigger so you can see this. This is 12 digits, 12 places, alphanumeric. I don't believe capitalization matters, but that is the parent access code. Now, one of the questions this morning was a good one. They said, well, is that the same thing as a snap code? No, it's not. Unfortunately, we do have lots of codes. So I kind of went through the back end of that today and explained that to that teacher. And it's good information for you too. So it's in PowerSchool, we have PowerSchool enrollment, and that snap code is what those parents can use to enroll the kid in school. So that's one code that exists out there. But that's mailed, that's done hopefully by the beginning of the school year, and we're good to go with that. Now in PowerSchool, there's a parent code as well. And in Schoology, there's a parent access code. And the way these pieces of software work is we don't make accounts for parents. It's just a safety thing for us, for them. We don't make their accounts. So our parents go to PowerSchool, they make a new account as a parent with their name, their password, their username, their stuff, and they use that access code given to them, that PowerSchool access code given to them by the secretary, and they can create an account and connect to their student. The same is true in Schoology. You go to Schoology, you put in that access code, and then the parent makes their own account, and it connects the parent and the student, but we don't actually control the parent's passwords and emails and all that sort of stuff. That's how those access codes work. Now, as of right now, we don't have a way to mass do that in Schoology. In PowerSchool, we can run all kinds of reports. We can say, pull this field and print off a letter. So we can do that in PowerSchool. We cannot do that in Schoology. the easiest way to do that in Schoology is right here in the members list. The teacher can get their members, their list, and easily hand that out to parents. However, I also, as a teacher, I had no problem sending that parent access code home. And I thought it was actually a good idea for me to do. And that's kind of the point of the next part of this is if I'm sending this home, I can also talk about the digital expectations for my classroom. So actually, let me take a step back here. We give them that code. There's only one code per student. I think we talked about this the other day. In elementary, you got 30 kids in your class. You hand out the 30 codes. You're good to go. Those parents connect. In secondary, only one teacher has to do this per student. So I taught science. I did all the science kids, all the sixth graders. I was 150 kids. I chose a day that we were doing vocabulary, something where students were working independently. I called them up. I wrote it down on my letter. I give them all the letter to go home and do that. The social studies teacher didn't have to do that. The English teacher didn't have to do that because I got them all connected. Once they're connected for every subject, one code per kid. So that's kind of nice. Elementary, it's pretty cut and dry. Secondary, that may be a discussion as leaders in your building to have with the principal, how you want to do that. Say, hey, the science teacher's going to do this, or maybe, hey, we're going to do this in fourth period teachers, or in success class, or whatever it is that you want to do. So there's that. Now that brings me to the other half of this, though. I didn't mind sending this letter home because personally, I think this now needs to be part of that beginning of the year communication. At the beginning of the year, we send out class expectations, syllabus. Here's what we're doing in our class. Here's all the things that you can expect in Mr. Spradlin's class. Well, in a digital world, there's digital things to expect too. So I liked sending that letter because I could be more specific. Instead of saying, here's Schoology, get into Schoology, I could say, here's what we're doing in Schoology. I discussed grading. I think that's important. I had a conversation with a teacher the other day, and she said, well, my grades in Schoology, my kids' grades, it's one of our teachers who has kids here. She goes, well, the grades in Power School and the grades in Schoology are not the same. Well, we have some teachers that are doing like math. When I taught math, my Schoology and Power School didn't line up because I was handing out some math sheets or assignments that I wanted kids to do on paper, and I was just putting them right into Power School. And the activity I was doing in Schoology was syncing, and they were all coming together in Power School. So Power School was the end-all, be-all, which it's going to be. That's what does our grade books. But my Schoology didn't really match up to that. Well, that's something I said at the beginning of the year. I said, we're doing some of these assignments digitally. You can see the assignments in Schoology. Don't worry about the final grade in Schoology. You need to worry about the final grades in Power School. Now, I have a lot of teachers in secondary. We've been using Schoology for a while. They've learned how to put that grade column right in Schoology, even if it is a worksheet or a math thing or something I didn't do in Schoology. I could still create that column in Schoology, sync it to Power School. Those match up perfectly. So again, those are all sort of personal sort of preferences and how you're doing that stuff. And I think that's important to put in your expectations in your syllabus at the beginning of the year. I also think it's important in this particular case, it wasn't the matter that the teacher was putting it in one and not the other. The teacher was putting everything in Schoology, but there was some makeup work because of COVID. And so I think that's just important too, in a digital world and even regularly explaining to parents those grading expectations. I remember as a high school swim coach, being at school at 5:30 some mornings and leaving at 9 o'clock some nights. I told parents, listen, I grade on Sundays, new grades will be there Monday. That's how it's going to be. And that bought me some time during the week. I didn't get the email said, hey, what's this test score? What's that? I clearly came out from the start, said, here's when they'll be updated. Here's when you expect to see new grades. So I didn't get those emails during the middle of the week asking about grades. So be transparent from the start. So I think that's important, again, because if we're grading and we're doing things digitally, having those conversations as a part of our beginning of the year letter, as a part of our syllabus, I think is important. I also think adding some help stuff in there. The letter I originally made had a little screenshot of how parents made an account. I knew that I'm not only just teaching my kids, but I'm teaching the parents too. And that happens sometimes. We're teaching the kids how to use it, but we're also teaching those parents how to use it. And I did that because helping those parents is ultimately going to help me. That's going to help me communicate at home. That's going to help me put my expectations out there. That's going to help me give me a platform to put assignments. One of my favorite assignments favorite uses, I guess, for Schoology was when I put my science fair packet on there. Science fair packet was always kind of a bone of contention because when I taught fourth and fifth and sixth grade, I always required it in my class. And it could be pulling teeth sometime in some households. And I put the packet out there in September, had parents sign it, and then when we got Schoology, I posted the Schoology too. I put the due dates on there. I put all the little ancillary assignments that built up to it on there, and it gave parents that, like, here it is, here's the science fair, it's coming, make sure we do it. But it also kind of gave me a backup when someone said, well, I didn't know about the science fair. I sent it home. You sign this, I posted it right there. You can see all the due dates all year. So not only is it good to be transparent and to give them that information from the start, but it also saved my bacon a few times because I could post those things on there and say, that's why this is important. That's why it's there. So helping parents can help you. So the other reason I think that initial communication to parents at the beginning of the year, in your letter, in your syllabus, whatever it may be, is our courses all look differently. I've struggled with this. People are like, oh, we need a letter. We need something to give parents. And I've got some of those. I've got one on my website. I'll put some links for you later. Here's one I made for Northside a few years ago. And again, I have these little spots on here where you put the parent access code and it gives them step-by-step directions. When I put this on my notes, feel free to steal from this. Feel free to snip this. Feel free to take this picture that I snipped from the Schoology website. Feel free to snip your own pictures. Remember that Shift Windows S to snip your own pictures and put them on things to give those parents that stuff. But as far as this paragraph at the top, that's very vanilla. And I would say it's more important for you to include that with stuff from your actual classroom. What do you plan to post? If you're teaching math and you're not going to have a whole lot on there except for maybe the pages that's going to be on or a video to help, but you're still handing a math paper back and forth every day, let them know that so they know what they're looking for. If you plan on putting all the tests on there, let them know that so they know that they need to be looking on there for test scores. I know when we first started using this in elementary, spelling tests are great on Schoology. You can put it on there. You can go through spelling test, grades for you, one less thing to grade on Friday. But then parents, that spelling test as elementary teachers, that's the one thing they look for. Sometimes math and science and all these other things are, yeah, that's just fancy school stuff. But that spelling test, everybody knows what it looks like. Everybody knows what 18 out of 20 means. Like that spelling test is something we all look forward to. And people said, well, where is that? So giving that expectation of these are going to be on here. Here's where you're going to find them. Here's how you look at them. So I think that's important to let them know what they are looking for. I had a discussion with a high school teacher a few years back, and there was some issues with a parent and a kid with some poor grades. Well, the kid wasn't doing any bell ringers. The teacher was doing the bell ringer on Schoology every day. The kid wasn't doing it. The parent goes, why is my kid having an F? This little grade book says 0 for all these bell ringers. What is this bell ringer? It's one of those things where it's a new world, and this kid was doing this digital thing every day. The parent couldn't see it. The parent had no tangible, I don't get this. And that could have been a very easy conversation or a letter at the beginning of the year. Hey, we're going to do bell ringers every day. If you see this little grade, it's 5 points. It's real easy. Make sure your kids are doing that. If you see a 0, hey, they can go make that up. They can do that later. So stuff we've already done as teachers, giving expectations and giving our classroom letter at the beginning of the year. But in a blended digital classroom, there's some blended digital expectations too. I also think, what can a parent expect to see? What kind of stuff are you going to put on there? We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Some things you can put on there. When a parent says, well, my kid says they're doing homework, what are they doing? So, hey, we're going to do some writing on here. They're going to be doing Google Slides. Just kind of giving them that brief overview at the beginning of the year helps that parent go, okay, they really are doing school on that device over there. Something I skipped over and I shouldn't have was, how's your course organized? I think that's important too. I was talking to my friend Jensen about that, and we've talked about that in other PDs, but we've not really gotten super in the weeds on that. But what I mean by that is, how are your folders organized in Schoology? Are you just going thing until there's this just big massive list? Or how have you kind of sorted it out? I know yesterday we talked about having a this week and a next week and a past weeks. I know some teachers have by the week, you go look at the week and there's the activities in it. I used to do chapter. Chapter 8. You click into Chapter 8, Chapter 8 homework, Chapter 8 assessments, Chapter 8 resources, Chapter 8 videos. Where do you think you find the Chapter 8 test? In the Chapter 8 assessments folder. So teaching kids that workflow, how they know, so they know how to click to go find things, but the same thing for your parents. And you don't have to, again, write them a novel, but hey, you're going to be seeing chapters here. Every chapter will have a folder. You're going to find all the activities and all the things you need for that chapter in that folder. So I think that's important. Now, the other thing that we want to provide for parents is help. So when they do struggle with this or they need some help, where can they go? Well, I've done some of that for you. If you go to the Muncie Community School website, yes, I should have went all the way back. Excuse me. And I go to students and parents down here at the bottom. Oh, right here at the top, actually. Click Schoology. We have a Schoology tab. We have an intro for parents. It's a letter from Schoology. We have an instructional video for MCS parents. This is something I made last year during quarantine. There are lots and lots and lots of videos on YouTube about Schoology and parent use and all kinds of stuff. I've been amazed in the last year how many things are made out there already. And it was tough because I'm like, well, why do I need to make this? Someone's already made this video, but it had this school's logo in the corner, or their courses were set up this way, or their teachers grouped this way. So I made one for us last year during quarantine. So when you click that, I think it's 14 minutes. It's literally walking through a parent account in the eyes of an MCS parent. So that's really nice. I've got this parent software access guide here. You might have seen these before. We used to have some of these out at the schools in like a trifold. And then I realized we don't actually touch paper anymore. So those trifolds, I can't do anything with them. So I made a different version, a little 3-sheet one here that you can look at on your screen as a parent, or you can print off and sit next to your computer. And it teaches them how to go into PowerSchool and make a PowerSchool account with that ID and access password from PowerSchool, and it teaches them how to go in and make a Schoology account the same way. So all of that's right there for you if you ever need to point them that way. And then I've got all kinds of things I've made. I'm going to link things to these notes, but I can always send you stuff. You don't need to go digging for those things. You need to explain to them how you're using it, and if you need some help or some tools or some screenshots or some videos, I got you. I've probably already got them made, or I can point you to one, or I can make one for you. So that's what I'm here to do. And then honestly, Google and YouTube are lifesavers. I found so many good things on Google and YouTube. It always baffles me that people will ask a question and I'm like, put it in the Google machine and I got really good video or really good explanation right there too. So lots of different ways to get help. So I want to kind of explain to you how they make a parent account. Again, not anything you're going to have to do, but if you're using a piece of software, I think sometimes it's nice to see how the sausage is made, to see how all the nuts and bolts work, so you can be a better user of said software. So in Schoology, they simply go to Schoology.com. The parents don't have Google accounts like we do, so they're just going to Google and typing Schoology and going to the national website, because they are going to make their own username, their own password. They start the sign up as a parent, and then they just type in that access code you provided them, and then it prompts them to make their own account. So their username, their password, their email, their stuff, we don't have to keep track of that, and it will create a Schoology account for them. All right. So one of the big questions that you may have is, what does a parent account look like? Well, it's view only. They can't see other kids' info, discussions, messages. On the notes, I went through a whole list of things. They can't do your kids' homework or their kids' homework for them. They can't turn those things in. They can see updates to their students' courses, groups, and schools. And I have a parent account up here. Here we go. So this is Father Schoology. You can see right up here in the corner. So when you jump into a parent account, Father Schoology is a member of YOC and is a member of Muncie Community Schools. That's how I set it up. Not all parents will be that. So they can see the posts that are posted to those locations. Father Schoology does not have any courses because he's not enrolled in any courses. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't make a parent course. If you've got parents signing a homework folder or doing a daily task for you already, and you get them into Schoology, nothing says you couldn't enroll them into a parent course and have them take a one-question assessment or check a box or do something and kind of flow that way. But That's down. Something I thought about this morning that I would maybe try if I was still in the classroom, but they're not in any courses, but they could be. They're not in any groups, but they could be. All this is kind of worthless for them when they log in. What really the meat of the parent page is that parent's going to come here where it says Father Schoology, click the drop down, and there's Father Schoology's child, Susie Schoology. And yes, they can add other children and they can toggle back and forth. So this is the meat and potatoes of the parent account. When I click Susie Schoology, it says clearly up here, you are viewing as Susie Schoology. Susie Schoology goes to Northside, so I see Northside Middle School posts. If I click enrollments, I see all the courses she's in at Northside Middle School. If I come up here to courses, I see her Northside courses. I see the groups. She's not in any, but if she was in Pokemon Club group or whatever group, that parent can see. So it's really, really nice. Now, I apologize. There's not any real classes for Susie Schoology. I had her in some Northside classes earlier this year, and every time I do that, the teachers email me and say, hey, Susie Schoology's showing up in here, and then they get rid of her on me. So let's just kind of point some things a parent can see here and some important stuff. I really like this. I love using Northside as an example because Miss Lucy is awesome over there. She's got information about the academic bowl. And then Dr. Carter chimed in with, hey, that's actually, or this thing's going to be canceled, or it won't be on that day. She puts the morning announcements in. There's a weather cancellation for a track meet. So this parent sees anything that's posted to Northside Middle School because Susie goes to Northside Middle School. If the teacher was posting an update for sixth grade science, Susie would see updates for sixth grade science. Or Susie's parents would see it on this feed. So it's like a Facebook, but you're only getting messages for the buildings, groups, and courses you're in. So you see Mr. Denniston is putting stuff about the Titan Showcase and sign up forms. So there's all kinds of great school information. That's why I really like using Muncie or Northside as an example here, because they really use that well. I think the first time I saw them use it, I thought it was kind of fun, is they're talking about the school dance and how much tickets were, and you couldn't go home after school. You had to do and all those rules that parents might call Miss Lucy 15 times during the day and ask that she can post there. And if they're connected, they'll see that. Now, Central does a really good job of that too. The teachers over there at Central post things about all the clubs and things after school. So that's kind of what a parent will see update wise. Now, before I get too far down into the weeds here too, I want you to know that if I come up here to Father Schoology's account and go to settings, and the same is true on your account as well, you have a notifications settings in here. And this will, yeah. Oh, I think it's, let's try this, sorry. All right, yeah, I actually have to go back to Father Schoology. So Father Schoology has a notification settings here, and this will determine how he gets notified of the things that happen on this page. And it's very, very granular, meaning you can turn on all these little pieces and parts. Course update posted on. So when you post an update, hey, track meet's canceled, I guess that's a school update, or hey, bring your calculators today, Father Schoology will get an email from that. If Father Schoology doesn't want to see an email every time the course is updated, Father Schoology can turn that off. And I think there's even custom ones on here too, or yours and mine, there's custom ones you can turn on for certain courses. But all these things can be turned on or off. I know the first time I used this, I had, as a teacher, I had assignments on, and then I got 150 emails about assignments, and I turned that off. But this gives the parents the ability to see, for these things to pop up on their phone, and they can even set it as a text message too. So that's kind of nice, because our parents are not opening up, seeing that Schoology page every day because they're not in class. But if they've got course update posted on and you say, hey, it's such and such's birthday today, everybody wish them a happy birthday, that parent will get that as well. Or, hey, we're having a party today, blah, 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 make sure you bring this, or whatever applicable thing. The parent can see that update too. They'll send them an email. So the notifications is important, either to turn them on if you want to see more, or turn them off. So I almost forgot that this morning. That's why I wanted to jump in and say it now. As I jump into a course here, I'm going to jump into my training course, Susie Schoology, and I can see all the materials here. So however you have your class organized, those buttons, the homework assignments, all those things will be here. Parents can see upcoming assignments. One thing I forgot to say this morning too, parents can see the calendar And Suzy Schoology doesn't have any assignments, but when you make assignments or make events in your class as a teacher, it populates the kid's calendar, which means the parents can see the calendar too. And the assignments would be on the calendar, and they would click it and say, hey, you have a math assignment or you have a math test tomorrow. I use that a lot, even when I wasn't, when I was giving a pencil paper math assignment. I made it a Schoology assignment, and I just didn't allow submissions. And I just put the pages it was on and that sort of information, and it still popped up here, and the parent can say, hey, you have math homework. Where's it at? Oh, it's right here. And they can show them the worksheet. So even though the assignment wasn't digital, that digital calendar was very, very helpful. I can go into grades, see a grade report for Suzy Schoology. And let's go to the sample training course, and you'll see some grades in here. And so here's an e-learning assignment right here. It's an assessment. As a parent, I can click that. Let's look at this assessment, e-learning assignment. I'm viewing a Suzy Schoology. 9 out of 15. Okay, 1 attempt. It was submitted. Time spent 1 minute. What? That's really helpful. That saved my bacon a few times too. I had a parent say, "Man, my kid does really well on all the homework, but not the test. I don't get it. I don't understand why." And we brought up a few of these, and I said, "Well, it's 45 questions. They spent 3 minutes. There's your sign." And they go, "Gotcha." Tells you the last time they modified it. And then as a parent, you can actually click view and see the kid's actual answers too. So if you're doing an online spelling test of sorts or whatever, the parent can actually see what they missed. So that's what a parent can see. I don't think I have anything else I want to go through here. If the kids turn in a document, a submission, a parent can see that, with the exception of Google Drive assignments. For those of you who do that, and that's just a share settings thing because they're not shared on that document. But other documents and things you can. So that's kind of a buzz through of a parent account there. So let's come back to this agenda. What do they see? It's view only. They can't. I meant to point that out to you. I need to come back here to, there we go, Suzy Schoology. There's a discussion in here, or an assignment in here. Go back to courses, sample course training. And there's an assignment in here I was looking at. And this is also why explaining them how your course is set up is important. This course is not really very organized. So explaining parents where to find things. So here we go. I've got this Gruffalo assignment. And the kids were supposed to watch this video, and they were just supposed to listen to the video. There's nothing for them to do. But you'll see a student made a comment down here. It's anonymous. I cannot see other students' comments, posts. I can't message other students. I can't take tests for kids. I can only see my kids' stuff and the things that I need to see to help them. So that's the other kind of cool thing about this is going back to my math class, I still handed a pencil paper math sheet out to them because I wanted to see the work, but I made a Schoology assignment. It had a due date, went on the calendar. I attached a PDF of the book pages. We already had it with our math software, so I just click. I attached the book pages. The worksheet, we already had the digital version of it. Click. I attached it to the assignment. And then when I taught, I recorded myself teaching at the time with an iPad. I did a screen capture recording, and I just recorded myself moving, manipulating my iPad, and put that video on there too. So even though we're getting pencil paper, now the parent can go back and open this up and find all those things. And I had a parent call me and say, "Hey, such and such left their backpack at school." I said, "No problem. Open Schoology. Cool. Click that right there. You see the book pages? There you go. There's the book pages the assignment came from." "Yeah, but they don't have the worksheet either." Click the next link. There's the worksheet. Cool. Well, we don't have a printer. That's fine. Take a piece of paper. There's the book pages. Do those problems on a piece of paper. I'll accept it. That way they don't have to be late. Okay, well, he forgot some stuff too. There's the video of me teaching as well. That should help. So those are all things that I didn't have to make. The PDF comes with our textbook software. The worksheet, if I was pulling it from the software, I had a digital version already. I just put them on there as extra copies for them. And then I was recording myself, like a lot of people do with their screen capture stuff right now. But I was just recording myself. Or if I didn't have that ability, I can put a... why can't I think of this Khan Academy video on there? Click, attach a video. And you've given those parents and those kids so many more resources in a digital world with just a few clicks. Not a whole lot of extra work on my part. So that's another reason I like this. All right, so that's what a parent can see. looking good on time. That's what a parent account looks like. It's safe. They can't see other kids' stuff. So what do you want them to see? That's really kind of the discussion here going out to the end of that. So we know what they can see. What do we want them to see with the idea that now they're in my class? Cool. What kind of options do I have? So I think about my original Schoology class, and I think I have my science fair packet here. I do. There's my original science fair packet back from 2016. There's all the due dates. There's all the stuff they need to have in this science fair packet folder. I have all this information, everything you need to know. Checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2. Here's your proposal. You got to fill it out. And like I said before, science fair was like pulling teeth. So I put this out early. I did send it home with pencil paper, but I also parked it on Schoology. If you think about it, even though you're making a letter or a newsletter or something from home, you're probably making it on a computer. You're probably making it with Microsoft Word or Google or something. So you have a digital version of it. I can send it home. I can click and put it on Schoology. Doesn't hurt to have it in two places because people lose things. So I really like that. That's kind of another concept with the parent account too. I can still use Remind. I can still use GroupMe. I can still use all the other apps I like that do specific things, but click, and I can pop it on Schoology too, and it's in another location. I can still tweet out what we're doing, but I can also put it as a class announcement. That's the cool thing about a digital age. With a few clicks, we can send it out there in many different ways. And if that gets 1, 2, 3 more kids and parents engaged and involved, we're good. So what kind of things we want them to see? Well, the science fair packet I wanted them to see. The very first time we got Schoology in 2016, my kids didn't have Chromebooks yet. I had Schoology. I was putting stuff on there. I was projecting it on my classroom. I was kind of curating my stuff. And then once the kids got their device, they're like, we can see everything. And I go, oh, that's weird. I was so used to putting everything in my Google Drive or on a thumb drive or somewhere else, and they can see that. And I go, well, that's not so bad, though. So all that stuff I'm putting on there, they have access. They have that transparency. They can see the presentation I gave in class today if they need to go over it again. That's perfect. They can see the assignment from last week. If I have opened up next week's assignment or study guide, it was on there. That was another thing I loved, the fact that I didn't have to print off a huge study guide anymore. So I started designing things and putting things on Schoology with the idea that, hey, not only are they here for me, but they're here for the kids, and ultimately they're here for the parents. That helps the parents help their kids, which helps us, which again helps the kids, and that's what we're here for. So that's kind of what I liked about that. What do you want them to see? Course updates. So when you post a course update, it will live out here where when you post to Northside Middle School, Miss Lucy posts Northside, it's going to live on this feed that Father Schoology can see. If I would go into Mr. Spradlin's class and post an update, and maybe I should just do that. I'm going to come in here and post an update and say, hey, everyone, great lesson, or hey, we're learning about pyramids next week, or hey, this person was a star student today, whatever it may be. Put a Bitmoji in there. I'm going to keep it very simple right now. But when I post that update, when you update that course that Susie Schoology is in, because she's in it, she sees the update, but the parent, because they're the parent, sees that too. So that could be, we're learning about this, or there's a field trip next week, or there's this important thing. So those updates can be really cool. I tend to think too, just keeping parents in the loop. I used to love to send stuff home that said, hey, next week we're going to learn about, I don't know, the pyramids. I don't know why that keeps popping in my head today, but we're learning about the pyramids with the hope that the parents might look at this and say, hey, I heard you learn about the pyramids. What have you learned so far? We know that doesn't always happen, but that's what we hope happens. We hope to bring those parents into the classroom as much as possible in this digital manner, and we hope they engage their kids in school sort of things. Again, I know that's maybe rainbows and flowers thinking, but it's 2 clicks for me. So I can try to create that situation. I can try to bring them into our world as best as possible. I think it's good for important news too. We got a field trip, this thing's going on. I think celebrations too, students of the week. Or such did something great today. I think that's a great way to get your parents to want to have a Schoology account. You post a student of the week, and the kid goes, hey, did you see I was student of the week? And the parent goes, where's it at? And you go, well, it's on Schoology. Okay. And then the parent makes their Schoology account so they can see that update there. So I think it's really great for course updates and just that information and just kind of building that camaraderie between home and school. Assignments. I really think it's nice for assignments too. How can this help you? Well, if a parent can see the assignments on Schoology, they can see the parameters, they can see the expectations. If you put a rubric on and said you have to have A, B, and C, you miss a point for all these things. A parent comes back later and says, well, why did they miss this? There's the assignment parameters right there. You kind of have that you've posted out there, the points, the rubrics, but any accompanying material, like I said earlier, I put on the workbook pages, I put on a copy of the worksheet, I put on a video, any help videos. I had a mom that emailed years ago and she goes, man, honors math has really been tough, but she goes, we're sitting down at the dining room table every night and we're watching your videos before I help her with that homework. And so that was really nice. We can put those digital things on there with a few clicks. And the nice thing is I don't have to make them all the time. I made mine. I was already teaching it. I recorded it, but Khan Academy, boom, 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 YouTube, boom, boom, boom. And you can add some of those help things right onto there. How can assessments help you? Well, we kind of saw that earlier. You see the scores, you see the actual questions, what a kid missed, what a kid's doing, but it also shows you the time spent and when they submitted it. And I think that's really helpful too. Helpful for the parents, again, to stay connected, but it might help you in the long run to solve a dispute or a grade situation later. I had a mentor teacher I worked with early that as a young teacher, I was a little worried about, well, can I do this and can I do that? And he goes, if you can back it up and support it, you can do it. And it kind of gave me the confidence to do the things I needed to do because I dotted my I's and crossed my T's and dotted my lowercase j's and made sure everything was easily tracked and easily transparent for everyone. And I think the digital classroom, that this can help do that too. What are some other resources you may want them to see? Well, deadlines, extensions, something big is going on, science fair is coming up, or hey, this was moved from this day to that day. It gives you a way to stay in touch with the parents on that sort of stuff too. Big projects. Put your classroom letter on there. You can post your classroom letter, your syllabus at the beginning of the year, and it's on there. So when they lose that copy, you can say, here it is again, posted right at the top of class, never left. It's there all year. If you ever question how I'm grading something, you can always go back and check it. It might help you later. Post your newsletter on there. You might send it home by paper still. You might link it in Twitter here and there. But if it's digital, just click it and link it on to Schoology too, and then there's another way they can see it. Field trip info, yeah, I know we've not seen a field trip in forever, but stuff like that if you'd ever need it. Your syllabus, your grade expectations, I think those are all great things to get them involved with. You want them to help you, but it's also going to help you because you're being very transparent. And my other little note here. In a digital world, it's easy to archive things on Schoology, even if you send home paper copies. I've got a PDF. I've got a Microsoft Word doc. I've got it in Google. It's 2 clicks to put it here, and another 2 clicks to put it here, and another 2 clicks to put it here. It's not me making things over again. It's me just sending it in multiple different media. Finally, school information. And we already saw that example here from Miss Lucy. She does a great job of that. And then the more users we get and the more valuable information we get, parents are going to go look at that source for that information. Rising tide raises all ships. So we get more people on there. That becomes a valid form of communication where parents start to look for stuff. So getting other people at school to do that. Like I said, Miss Lucy's really led the way over there. Mr. Grimm is always posting stuff on here. There's Ms. Pierce posting to the staff. She's collaborating with the staff today. I said Muncie Central does a great job of all their clubs and stuff too. So lots of great ways to communicate there, not just in your classroom, but at the school. There was one on here earlier. It was from a nurse, even talking about parents picking up their prescriptions. I was so proud because I thought it was a good post. It said, hey, parents, make sure you pick up your prescriptions by these dates. Now, the only issue I had with it was how many of the parents from that school do we have in Schoology right now? For that to be an effective post, we've got to get that access code out, and then we've got to make this a valid form of communication. But I was really proud of her for putting that, because if our parents are checking this, they're getting those notifications. If we're using this, that's a great way for you to sit down and go boom, 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 and send out that information, and not having to go run down to the cop machine and, I need to get these ran before the end of the day so I can get them the kids' backpacks and all those sorts of things. And then finally, Lucy uses a lot for school functions, the school dance, schedules. In a middle school, the schedule is constantly changed, different days have different schedules. We have 2-hour delays, we have 1-hour delays, we have 2-hour early release, we have 1-hour early release. We have all these crazy, weird schedules for different things in middle school. And I love it when we have that happen and I forget what schedule we're on. And she posts it on Schoology, and there it is right in front of me. Okay, cool. That's when first period starts today. So it's really nice. And then closing and delay information. All right, I have said just about all I can say about that. I'm going to start at the top and kind of buzz right back through all this. Where to find the parent access code? We said find that in members. Download that CSV. If you're an elementary teacher, you only got the 30. If you're a middle school teacher or high school teacher, you kind of have to decide how it's going to be done, whether it's going to be a certain class, a certain period. How do they get the code? Send it home in your letter. Send it home in your beginning of the year information. And don't just send that code. Discuss what they're going to see in Schoology. Discuss grading. Discuss the same way you're already discussing expectations and how you plan on doing assignments and what your parents should see normally in a digital world. Explain some of those digital expectations too. Show them where they can go get some help. And again, right there on the Muncie Community Schools website, lots of information. If you get stuck, you need more than that, call me. I can help you with that. What does your course look like? Explain that to them. How's it going to be organized? What do you plan to post to them? How do you plan on using that so they can know what to expect? Is tests going to be on there? Is it going to be bell ringers? What's going to be digital? What's not? And then finally, help. Again, where to go get help from. We discussed how to make a parent account. They make their own account. They just need that parent access code, and they can't see other kids' stuff. They can't turn in their students' assignments. They can't join discussion boards. They can't message other students. It's a view only. It's like they're looking over the shoulder of their student. And actually, I have a lot of parents that they don't even make their own parent account. They just do that, but it's nice for them to have their own account too. Again, even for the notifications. Hey, next week we're going to be studying ancient Greece. If anyone knows anything or has any family members or anything special about it, bring it in or let us know. And a parent goes, oh, hey, I saw you're studying Greece next week. Did you know that Uncle such and such or this and that? And so again, you're trying to drive some of that homeschool communication too. And then finally, what do you want them to see? With the idea that you can post things on there and they can see them, how can it help you? Those updates, that communication, assignment parameters, rubrics, assessments. Hey, your kid only spent 2 minutes on this. That's why the grade wasn't very good. All those analytics pieces that they can see. And then other resources, big projects, deadlines, science fair packets, and then school stuff like birthdays. I laugh because Miss Lucy puts the birthdays all the time too, and I didn't forget. It just wasn't on my radar that day. It was my nephew's birthday. He's at Northside, and I'm sitting there popping through Schoology, and it pops up my feed. I go, it's his birthday. I better get over there today and say happy birthday. And it popped up my Schoology feed because Miss Lucy put that. So I thought that was kind of cool. So lots of different ways that parent accounts can help you.